A reading from the book of Sirach. The Lord is a God of justice, who knows no favorites. Though not unduly partial towards the weak, he hears the cries of the oppressed. The Lord is not deaf to the wail of the orphan, nor to the widow when she pours out her complaint. The one who serves God willingly is heard. His petition reaches the heavens. The prayer of the lowly pierces the clouds. It does not rest till it reaches its goal, nor will it withdraw till the Most High responds, judges justly, and affirms the right, and the Lord will not delay. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the second letter of St. Paul to Timothy. Beloved, I am already being poured out like a libation, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have competed well. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. From now on, the crown of righteousness awaits me, which the Lord, the just judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but to all who have longed for his appearance. At my first offense, no one appeared on my behalf, but everyone deserted me. May it not be held against them. But the Lord stood by me and gave me strength, so that through me the proclamation might be completed and all the Gentiles might hear it. And I was rescued from the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil threat and will bring me safe to his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever. Amen.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Lord, be in my mind, on my lips, and in my heart. Jesus addressed this parable to those who were convinced of their own righteousness and despised everyone else. Two people went up to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee, and the other was a tax collector. The Pharisee took up his position and spoke this prayer to himself. O God, I thank you that I am not like the rest of humanity, greedy, dishonest, adulterous, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week, and I pay tithes on my whole income. But the tax collector stood off at a distance and would not even raise his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast and prayed, O God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, the latter went home justified, not the former. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Once again, we want to thank everyone who has handed in or sent in their annual covenant cards, and encourage anyone who has not to please get on the stick here, and please do fill out your covenant cards and turn them in. In fact, I won't be bothered at all if you do that during this spellbinding homily. We also, of course, celebrate the new altar servers who we'll install in just a moment. We're so proud of them. They've been so good, so delightful to watch up here on the altar. They keep us not only entertained, but they keep us on track. So thanks, guys. Today's readings insist really on understanding the effects of our attitudes. In 1963, President Kennedy presented the comedian Bob Hope with the Congressional Gold Medal. And Bob Hope, who could never resist an opportunity for a laugh, in his acceptance said, "This award humbles me, but I have the character to beat that feeling." Media mogul Ted Turner once said, "If I had just a little bit of humility, I would be perfect." I don't know if you watched the ball game last night, but the pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, is considered the very best pitcher in baseball. He's won the Cy Young Award 3 times, and 2 years ago, I guess, he was the first pitcher in nearly 50 years to be awarded the Most Valuable Player award. And yet, everyone says he is the most humble player in Major League Baseball, maybe in all professional sports. He didn't have a very good night last night, but you could actually tell the broadcasters were hurting for him. They like him so much. They even started talking about how he's had back problems, and probably his back was hurting. So he may not only be the most humble player, he may also be among the most popular. Think about your own family, your relatives. Think about your peers. Consider someone among them who has really accomplished great things, and yet whose high achievements have not affected them. They are just regular. And then take another moment and think about that relative or peer who may also have achieved good things, but they're always boasting, always inflated, always judging others. When you consider the two, which one would you prefer to spend some time with? I told this story in 1995 and found it again as I was trying to think of what to say today. I preached it on the same week we had this same gospel, but in 1995. A Catholic youth group from San Antonio went on their annual Catholic Heart work camp experience, something our teenagers do as well. Ours went to Arkansas last year. But this group from San Antonio went to the southern border of Texas to a very poor town. And these young people fixed porches, replacing boards, replaced shingles, even shingles on roofs, painted. They even built a ramp, wheelchair ramp, for one of the elderly poor people. On that high they got from working with the poor and with each other, they climbed onto the bus to go home exhausted and hungry. I mean, they were teenagers. And very shortly down the road, the bus stopped at a local diner. The kids all piled into the restaurant, and they were so excited, talking amongst each other, they didn't even realize that the waitress had not come to the table. After a while, one of the teens got up and went to the waitress and said, "We're ready to order now." And she said, well, I can't take your order as long as those two are with you. And she motioned toward two of the teens of obviously Mexican descent. She said, we do not serve Mexicans here because we don't want to encourage people sneaking through our borders. The teenager said, wait a second, I grew up with these kids. They were born in San Antonio. We're from the same parish. She said, well, we don't serve any Mexicans because we can't tell the difference between the ones that are illegal and the ones who are legal. So I'm sorry I can't serve your group. But what I will do, and she said this kindly, I will allow you to order something for them if you'll take it out to the bus and let them eat on the bus. The teenager went back and reported to the others, and there was a long period of silence. And then one of the teens stood up and said, you know, I don't think I'm that hungry. The others got up with them, and they got back on the bus, drove just a few miles down the road, and went to a McDonald's. The next day, that waitress got up and said her prayers. And the teenagers got up and said their prayers, just like all teenagers, especially those in Catholic youth groups. Now, knowing that although he went back and claimed his divinity, Jesus emptied himself of his divinity to become one just like us. So like us, he would have similar feelings to the feelings we had about those relatives and peers. So whose prayers do you think pierced the heavens and were welcomed most by Jesus? Today's gospel fills us in. If our prayer life doesn't impact our daily lives, we may want to examine our attitudes and pray that they, in fact, lead to good news.